Hey guys, Sebious here with another Sebious Speaks, and today I want to talk about the Imperial Truth, the limited edition Horus Heresy Black Library novella that I've already spoken about before. I spoke about the first story, The Hands of the Emperor, um, and the goodness of the Custodes and the Imperial Fist kind of butting heads and not getting on so much. Um, and finally, I've managed to finish this beautiful thing, and so I just wanted to give a little bit of overview and see what I thought, because this is one of those books that was originally only available at one of the Horus Heresy Weekenders, I think, part of the goodie bag, and then I think it's called From the Vault. It's the new back library thing where they bring back limited editions once more to make them limited edition again, so you can get hold of them. But again, they're sold out within hours of that. So basically, I want to give you a flavour and see. Are you missing out? Or are you not missing out by getting this? Because they always say that the limited edition novellas, they're not essential to the story of the Horus Heresy. You're not missing out on anything, but they are adding a little bit of depth or a little bit of other perspective or a little bit more detail in some cases. Um, and kind of that's what you have with this. There's some interesting things. There's not so interesting things, but really, I don't think you're massively missing out by not getting hold of this. There's some good stuff here, and it's definitely very entertaining. But for someone who's been so desperate to get hold of this for such a long time, I think I may have overhyped it to myself a little bit. So look at the contents here. So we had Hands of the Emperor by Rob Sanders, which is the Custodes Imperial Fist going at it. The Phoenician by Nick Kime. Now this I really did enjoy. In fact, actually, this was from the perspective of spoilers. Little bit. I'm not going to go too in depth. Just kind of a little bit of an overview. Just give you an idea in case you do want to track this down at some point, or you can kind of move on having an idea of what was in it. So, The Phoenician by Nick Kime is from the perspective of one of the Morlocks, one of the Iron Hands Terminators, who's been knocked on his back like a great beetle and is sort of kind of near to death. But he is watching the altercation take place between Ferrus Manus, his father, and the Phoenician Fulgrim. And I still can't remember exactly which novel it was in originally, but it kind of seemed very brief. It seemed like a very brief encounter, and it just kind of, Ferrus and Fulgrim go at it, couple of slacks, and there we go, Ferrus Manus' head is gone. Sad times, Primarch down. But this makes it kind of drags it out a bit more, and he's seeing it painstakingly, slowly. We see the epicness of the battle, the strikes, the things that are going on, the looks that are going between one another. The Moloch even sees Fulgrim sees the monster, the demon that is kind of within him, as he kind of brings the sword down, but also a sorrow, a sadness that also weirdly deep within him about getting his brother. So that's kind of epic, and also the demons and the spirits that are kind of being summoned by the atrocities that are taking place on the Isfahan 5 drop site massacre. Because Isfahan is obviously a system of joy, as we all know. Then next we had By the Lion's Command by Gav Thorpe. We have a bunch of Dark Angels who have been left with the chapter master, whose name escapes me at this point. And he's sort of been left in charge by the Lion as the Lion is off doing his thing, presumably with the weird ball heretical device thing that he's either acquired by this point or is trying to acquire and going up against the Death Guard. So these are in another section of of space, and they are fighting more Death Guard, and they are pursuing and trying to take down Typhus and the Death Guard, were also trying to meet up with the Space Wolves to deliver a message from the Lion. Essentially, this is just them. There's a neutral party, an empire or a planet that has seceded from the Imperium, which would normally been put down with utter vim and just kind of hatred. But they're kind of having to deal with them because they have orbital cannons, and the Dark Angels are very outnumbered by the Death Guard, so they're trying to get them on side. Although it turns out that they're just going to take their stuff anyway, and they plan to head back to the Rock to grab a bunch more Dark Angels. So this, not the Rock. What am I talking about? Caliban. I've not got to the Rock part yet. But going back to Caliban to get a bunch more Dark Angels. So that's kind of the whole point of the story, was to sort of say that there's more stuff, more rutting going on between the Death Guard and the Dark Angels, and also to bring these the kind of forgotten and the left out Dark Angels from Caliban, bringing them into the fray, which will either cause it's definitely going to cause some tension with the line later on. But it's one of those stories which is kind of for that last line. Oh no, we're taking the ships to go to Caliban. So yeah, it was alright. It was written okay, but just didn't kind of blow my mind. Then we got the Divine Adoratrice. The Divine Adoratrice by Graham McNeil. This was an interesting one. Sexy times and cheating and infidelity and tattoos and the influence of obviously serpent cults and chaos on a feudal world. There's knights coming of age, and just kind of the relationship or the wrongness of the relationship and the affairs that are being had, and that are putting this lady who is supposed to be with one of the brothers. Well, she's sleeping with both brothers, but she's supposed to be with one brother, but she's sleeping with the other, and so kind of grooming him for command, and also so she can influence him and show that the Imperial Knights and this world are going to be influenced by a cultist. So we're seeing how through on different planets and different means, chaos cults are kind of rising and going to be influencing stuff in the future. A lot of sexy times, which is not what you normally get so much from 40k stuff and Horus Heresy stuff. So that was interesting. I always enjoy Graham McNeil's writing, but it's a very setty-uppy kind of story rather than its own story in itself. Written very well, but yeah. Less boobs, more bolters for me, I think, in this situation. Then we had Lord of the Red Sands by Aaron Dembski-Bowden. Angron being angry and fighting on Isfahan 3, I believe, when it's the purging of his legion, fighting against World Eaters, and kind of just the remembering the share and the battles that he wanted to fight with his other slave brothers before the Emperor came and took him. His loyal traitor World Eaters, if that makes sense. The World Eaters that are loyal to him, not the ones he's trying to kill, or chanting his name, but it's his slave name, which makes him very upset and angry and conflicted because he doesn't really like his name and he feels that he's back in the arena fighting again. And also there's a wonderful kind of moment when he's actually killing one of his sons, and they kind of asking why on earth he would do this, why he would turn against the Emperor, and he's sort of saying how he's always been against the Emperor. The Emperor gave him means to fight and do what he wanted to do, but this is for freedom, and he feels that the Emperor and the Imperium are more chains upon him like it was before. Because, and also the nice thing about this story is he was relatively eloquent in his own head again, which is nice because there were some beautiful moments in, was it Betrayer? I think where Angron is talking to Lehman Russ about the Imperium and the unjustness and the kind of fascist nature of things, and it's nice to see Angron being a little bit eloquent and managing to get his thoughts out without the butcher's nails singing too much and his bloodlust being up. So Aaron Dembski-Bowden really does write chaos guys and conflicted things very well, and it's a really kind of awesome story. And then last but not least, we do have All That Remains by James Swallow, which was a rather interesting tale. Again, it's another big setty up type thing. Essentially, there is some Imperial army that were on a planet that has been was brought to compliance by the Lunar Wolves, now the Sons of Horus, but these are still loyal to the Imperium, and they're sort of talking about how the process of indoctrination, or the way propaganda has slowly and insidiously spread to their planet to make people go against the Imperium, make them kind of go towards chaos, and just how it's so slowly just permeated the culture and the way people think, and the way just the whole kind of zeitgeist and consciousness of the planet. And just how insidious it is that sort of seeped into the marrow of the people, and that's really rather interesting. But they're kind of fleeing in a ship, and a Thousand Sun turns up, who they seem to be rather aware of the scouring of the Thousand Suns at the hands of the Space Wolves at this point, which is interesting to see how information is flowing at this point in the Great Crusade, or the Heresy at this point. But he is a slate grey Thousand Sun, presumably part of Malcador's proto Grey Knights with Loken and Garrow and the Ultramarine and the World Eater. So there's a few of this building up their merry band of kind of proto Grey Knights, and they essentially say the Malcador has going to be having need of these broken people, these people that are still wanting to stay true to the Imperium when their platoons and their regiments and their planets have turned traitor. And I thought that was really interesting, that not only do you have use for these splintered and alone Space Marines that want to stay loyal despite the rest of their legion turning traitor, there's also space for people to do that, and they surely become some kind of Imperial agent or some kind of crack force for the Sigillite, which is just fascinating. So that's an overview of what we've got in the Imperial Truth. Once again, it's a lovely leathery book with the Aquila embossed in it, and we also have the lovely cover there, the old Custodes pulling the "Come at me, bro." I have to say I've really enjoyed this. It's the first book I've managed to read in quite a while, because the chronic fatigue and brain fog has kind of made it very difficult to read. But I got it done, and I really enjoyed it. I can't thank Dave, Heretical Xenos, enough for posting me this book and letting me read it and lending it to me, which is awesome. And I would definitely recommend it, but I wouldn't say you don't need to break the bank, you don't need to break yourself to get hold of this. It's good, it's interesting, but it's not essential stuff. A lot of it is setting up stuff, and things that, when they do become relevant and do become more huge to the story, there's going to be a nod to these things, or at least you will be able to infer some of these things. So the Imperial Truth is great. Well, I'm a heretic, so the Imperial Truth, the book, is pretty great. The Imperial Truth for me is not good. I'm a heretic all the way. Eightfold Path for me, good times. But that's all I really want to talk about that with regard to that today. So again, I'm Darth Sebious. This is Sebious Speaks for Allies Index, allies-index.com, place for all things geeky gaming. And just if you want to share anything geeky gaming, any models, any games, any write-ups, reviews, thoughts, anything, retro gaming, new gaming, news, anything. If you want to share it with us or get it out there so other people can share in the joy, get hold of us, submit to us. If you want to join the blog on a more regular basis and share your opinions and all that sort of stuff, or make your own videos, that's also, you'll be massively welcome. But otherwise, just come along and check us out. It's a place for all things geeky gaming, and essentially to share in the joy of all things geeky gaming. Again, that's allies-index.com, and I'm Darth Sebious, and I will hopefully catch you guys again soon for another Sebious Speaks. I'll catch you later. Tally bye.